All right, welcome in everybody. We got another daytime episode, and that's because we're heading out to Hawaii again. Hawaii baseball, it's getting better every single year, and this year they have an opportunity to really put themselves on the map. And one of the ways they're going to do that is with their pitching. And today we got in one of their studs. We got in Ty. How are we doing today?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful today. Um, just getting through this week. Uh, just starting our 20 hours and stuff like that. So the ball is rolling.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. It's just around the corner. Before we get into everything baseball, before we get into your story, I got to know, man. Obviously, I see it slick back right now, but it was the first thing I wanted to talk about on the show. I'm jealous. I was given bad hair. You got that Troy Polamalu perfect hair. Like, just talk to me about it. Like, I mean, you wash and condition every day. We putting products in it, or is it just, man, it just looks good naturally?
Oh man, it's gotten attention over the years. Funny enough, because what kind of high school I went to, I had to cut it off. So I did have short hair for a period of time before getting back into college. It was always going to be a decision of mine to get it back out there. I always loved the flow, had to rep all the curls, but like a daily hair routine, um, wash my hair maybe two, maybe three times, but particularly two times a week. I'll shampoo and condition, but um, always pre-game, always got to put in leave-in conditioner, make sure the curls stay nice and slingy.
Yeah, that when I was looking to see who I wanted to have on from Hawaii baseball, as soon as I seen that, all I needed was like, please tell me he's good. Because when I seen the arm sleeve with the tattoo, and then I seen the long hair, I was like, that's my guy. And then I seen that you were good. Like, because if you were like the worst guy on the team, I was like, it's gonna be a tough sell. But you weren't. So I was like, we're good to go. No, man. I'm jealous. I did not get blessed in that department. Unfortunately, I could use all the conditioner and product that I want, it would still be nappy. So it is what it is. Something I wanted to talk about because we had your boy on, and we're gonna get into all things baseball, but I wanted to bring it up before I forgot. The man threw some shade at you. Nigel said you throw funny. What's up with
Oh,
that?
I tell you what, people have been saying it for a while. They're like, how come you throw like this? Growing up, only threw one way, and it's always been a low three quarter from the very beginning. I think because I was like very different from the rest of the kids growing up, especially in the town that I'm from, very small, so not much going on. And um, I think all the coaches were just kind of hands off and it's like let him be who
Mm.
he is and embrace that left-handed specialty. And so the older I got, man, it's just like this felt natural. This feels comfortable. Everyone's like, does that hurt? Nope. Like if anything, it feels a lot more
if
comfortable than
if
throwing
it's
over.
successful, it ain't weird to me. I mean, there's a lot of dudes that don't just throw, traditional, but as long as it's successful, nobody really cares. Especially he said a lefty, man. Hey, that's what you want. But let's talk football for a second. I don't know if you've been watching. Have you by chance been watching the NFL playoffs?
Been touching base a little bit, not particularly a avid football watcher, but I mean, when it's on, I'm watching and I take some interest in there.
All right.
Um,
Well, with that being said, even if you're not big into it, who you got winning it all?
I think I take the bandwagon and hope that the Ravens take it all, my opinion.
Yeah, no problem with that. And I think everybody, it doesn't matter what sport you're watching, you get tired of seeing the same team at the top all the time. And I think everybody would love to see them knock Kansas City off and have two different teams, playing for the Super Bowl. I think I want to see Detroit win it because their fans have never got to experience that. And
Oh,
man, yeah, I think about putting myself in their shoes, and that'd be awesome, man. That city will probably have like a week-long party if they bring home that championship.
and I know exactly how that feels.
So let's talk music for a second. What musician or band, is your go-to right now? It could be whether, you're driving around or you're working out. What's the one that you have to have on if you pick anybody?
Um, I'll give you two. So reggae is super popular, right, in the island. So I feel like that's a separate category in itself. So if we're going reggae, there's a band called Maoli. Uh,
Mhm.
they they have a lot of really good songs. So if you ever need to go look for one, there you
There you
go.
go.
Um, as for the other one, artist called Blast, kind of R&B hip hoppy,
Okay.
kind of my groove right there.
So you one of those that, you kind of listen to a lot of different kinds of music and got a lot of variety.
Oh yeah. I feel like the culture here is just very like musically inclined, and so you're just naturally attracted to all types of music.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what's up. All right, so this one's important. We were just talking about football. You're not a big football guy. Obviously, I assume you to be a baseball guy, but I don't know who your favorite athlete is to watch what sport. But if you were to pick one athlete right now, it's just if they're on TV, you have to watch them. Who is that athlete?
Gosh. I mean, really, if we're talking active like concurrent players, um, I do enjoy. If I'm going basketball, I'd love to watch John Morant. I feel like that is dog right there.
Since you
When it
did
comes,
that, oh man, look at that! I ain't never had that answer before. This is because I'm from Memphis. This is Grizzlies basketball, and there's Ja
oh,
right there.
Liz, that's awesome. Yeah, and like it's even better because he's also number 12, so it just fits a little better for me. We talking football. I really do enjoy watching Tua play. I got to see him in high school, so that's really cool to see him at the professional level. And then baseball, like my favorite pitcher to watch, Josh Hader. Sad to see him leave San Diego, but and then favorite hitter, I'd probably say Bryce Harper.
Yeah, no doubt. All solid picks across the board. You can't go wrong with any of them. I'm really happy you said Ja though, man. Even people who say basketball don't ever say Ja Moran. I love him getting his love. He is worth the price of admission. I tell you, as many games I've been to, the acrobatic stuff he does, like I mean, it's crazy how freakish athletic he is.
Yeah, that's my NBA comp also.
There you go. I feel you. All right, well, let's get into your story, man. Hawaii. Where are you from there?
All right, so Hawaii in general, 8 islands statewide. I'm from the Big Island. It's originally called Hawaii Island. So in there, smaller communities. I'm from the north side, little place called Kohala. Grew up there for like 11 years of my life. Raised partially with my grandparents, so really good relationship with them there. And then I had moved to the east side where there's a lot more going on over there. Attended Kamehameha schools, a private school, Hawaiian school out there. So I split my time between those two places.
Yeah, so I mean, it's one of those things that I got to drop the news to you. I hadn't even told Nigel yet. My wife has to have surgery, so she can't fly that first weekend. So I'm not going to be able to go to Hawaii. And I was looking, we're gonna make the trip up. So hopefully it's this season, so I can still come see you guys because that was the reason we did these interviews. But man, I was looking forward to navigating Hawaii. It's so interesting, like because you bring up the 8 islands, and it's like you know different ones have different things about them that you want to go see. So the whole thing's interesting. Like, and it's one of those things you got to make sure you have plenty of time. It's not like you can get it done in a few days, right? So, my goal was going to be to do 7 days of traveling and then 3 days of baseball, but I have to watch you guys from the TV. But I'm excited because y'all now got a fan in me, and then we've done half the Ole Miss team, so hopefully some outstanding baseball. But Hawaii just yeah, it excites me. Everything about the island, the culture. Obviously I was in the Navy, so I really wanted to go see Pearl Harbor. You know, I'm a big Dwayne the Rock Johnson guy, and we were talking about the tattoos on your forearm. Like I don't know, I love tribal tattoos, so I'm all about Hawaii for sure. But let's get into family, man. Mom, dad, brothers, sisters. What's the household like growing up?
Growing up, so it was just me and my mom, single mom. So that's why I had like a pretty good upbringing with my grandparents because they also helped with that. Um, Couple years down the road, got a half sister. So her name is Presley. She's my biggest fan, so I love it. It's awesome to have that sibling support. But my dad had kids spread across the board in other areas, so I have a total of like 7 siblings around, and we're all pretty tight knit.
Hey,
So
by the way, I'm your brother. So what?
yeah, yeah. But yeah, all tight knit though. Small communities, so everyone's still pretty close to each other, regardless of the situations that had occurred and stuff. But yeah, so now it's just back at home, it's my mom, her girlfriend, and my sister and myself.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right. And so, growing up, there's always somebody who has that, the athletic inspiration they give to you. Sometimes it's somebody personally within the family. Sometimes it's those athletes we talk about seeing on TV. Did you have someone, you grew up around that was that inspiration, that influence when it came to sports?
I would say my family is a pretty athletic family. My grandpa he played football and he also coached high school football locally, and so they had been heavily involved in the sports area. And so in my growing up, they just kind of introduced a bunch of sports, and from what I remember, I had got gifted a plastic bat and ball, and that had become like my favorite one. So found out that I was pretty good at it, and I enjoyed the process of all of that. So stuck with that all these years.
Yeah, no, you picked the right one clearly. But when it came to the other sports, did you, you know, I keep bringing up Nigel because that dude played everything. And when he told me he
Oh,
played basketball, it was so funny because he's so small. But like, did he was talking about there was a lack of kids to play a lot of sports where he was from, and that was the reason why he played so many. Was it the same way where you were? Did you play a bunch of different sports just to play because there wasn't that many people?
compared to Nigel's Island, like we're pretty close in like population size, but his is the entire island. So I mean, he had to do it all, and
That's what he said. There wasn't a choice.
that's like he's actually an unreal athlete. Like seeing him in action, like it'd blow your mind. Um, but for mine, I want to say our town's a basketball town, so everybody was super into basketball. I never reached out outside of baseball very often. I was so imbued in that process. So I never did any other sports growing up until middle school, when my mom forced me to do track and field because, like Nigel, I'm pretty fast too. I'm pretty fast. So
A pitcher that's fast, I'm gonna need to see it.
yeah, I run a 6'4", run a 6'4", 60. So
Okay, okay.
um, but yeah, so I did track in a good number of years when in between baseball, because baseball and track season was during the same time.
Mhm.
Uh, Ended up doing pretty well too. So I'd like got a couple like I guess D2 offers to do track instead of baseball, but that wasn't gonna happen. So
It's nice to keep on the back burner. You never know, could tear something up in your arm, and then hey, you got something to fall back on. So it wasn't a bad thing to have.
yeah.
All right. So what high school did you go to?
So I went to Kamehameha schools. It's a tri-campus type of school. So there's one on the Big Island, there's one in Oahu, and then there's one in Maui. So that's how that works. It's a private school. Pretty sure it's the richest
So does
entity.
like the one of the three, is it the one that like handles like baseball? So do you have to go to a certain one for baseball, or how's that work?
Oh no, they kind of have their own, like it's run like K through 12 on each campus. So it's all like independent, but all under the same. Uh,
Gotcha.
so yeah, but each one is a little different, and like one of the big stereotypes, I mean, at least in Hawaii, is we can kind of tell what kind of person you are depending of where you're from, what high school you graduated from, and then it even goes down to which campus of Kamehameha schools did you attend, because each campus kind of has a little different stigma to it. So
I got you. Yours doesn't carry that negative vibe, does it?
no, no.
There you go. Don't be going to the wrong one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We like
All
the
right.
back and forth.
There you go. So looking at your accolades, man, 2019 Star Advertiser Player of the Year, 2019 Scoring Live Hawaii D2 Player of the Year, 2016 Hawaii State Champion, career high 16 strikeouts in one game. You hit 364 as a senior, struck out 79 batters in 41 innings, pitched with a 0.84 ERA as a senior. Man, a lot to unpack there, but I'm gonna start with the one that stuck off the page. You would think it might be the sub one ERA, but I gotta go to 16 Ks, man.
Yeah.
Anytime you're throwing that many strikeouts, so just talk about, man, how much fun that was, and like, I mean, what's it like? I mean, do you feel untouchable?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, that game, in fact, was the first game of that high school season. So it was just like, all right, okay, here we go. It was on the road, and I think it was just here it is. It's it's the last season. Let's have a pretty hot start, and so it's just you get in the zone, you start rolling, you get the first strike, and then you get the second strike, and once you catch that fire, it was nonstop, and it did feel like I was God for a little bit. I feel like I could put it here, and they're not going to touch it. So
Did you go the complete? It didn't say. Did you go the complete game?
we ended up run ruling them, so
Ah,
we didn't get to go. I essentially did. The
Damn, that's to make it even worse. You already are striking out everybody, and then y'all are teeing off, putting up runs too. Man, y'all broke their hearts.
You know what the thing is though, like, and we get a lot of shit for this one. It's because our campus, like, we do have really good athletes, but the amount of students that we have, like, the student body is like not as large as some of the other public schools. So our school is listed in the D2 rank, but when we play against the D1 teams, we either compete or we either beat them most times.
Mhm.
And so we get a little shit because we're like not supposed to be in that division. But that's also the thing too, is like you're facing off of guys who don't necessarily get to see that kind of level of baseball.
All right, and and I was going to ask, so is that the reason for the sub one ERA? Just really playing guys to not your fault that just weren't. It sounds arrogant, but not on your level.
I mean, particularly, I mean, you look at what Nigel said, right? Like he was forced to play other sports that he wasn't necessarily like, like that was
Mhm.
his thing. It's kind of the same situation with a couple schools. I wouldn't say all of them. When you play, especially on the Big Island, the baseball community is so tight knit that like everybody knows everybody.
Mhm.
At one point or another, you've all played together or against each other. So, I mean, there is talented players on every team for sure,
Mhm.
and that's just a matter of like how well can you play
I
team
mean, I
baseball.
mean, it's like that here. DeSoto Central, which has a ton of college baseball players, even pro baseball players from this area, but a lot of them have to go play travel ball over the summer, go to different areas because the high school teams around here. I mean, it's the same thing you're talking about the run rules. I mean, next thing you know, you're up 20-0 and they're, calling the game. A lot of the pitchers on the other side, just throwing meatballs up there for guys to bang 500 feet. Like, so I
Yeah.
get it. I mean, that's going to happen pretty much anywhere you go, right? There's going to be those teams that just don't belong and you feel bad for them, but they want to put a team together. And so I think that's going to happen. And that's the reason why a lot of teams, a lot of guys invest in travel ball to go play against elite talent to find out, what they really got. But winning that state championship, obviously, I think if I'm getting that right, is that your freshman year?
Yes, it was my freshman year. God, that year went so well, and that kind of set me up in this mindset of like I want to play every year like I'm a freshman, not necessarily because of the results of that year, but the feeling of I'm all gas, no brakes. I don't know what to expect, so I'm going to continue to always push myself to be always at the top. Like that year in particular, I remember um, when we'd have practices, after practice, we'd have conditioning and we'd run polls. And I'd always make sure to trail the first guy the whole way to the last pole to beat him at the end and just all gas it out. And I did that consistently all season long and continue to try to be the best player. Um, and, the fruits of that labor ended up, earning me more playing time and earning me more respect with teammates. And eventually, when it got to that state tournament, I had pitched in the semifinals. I got to start in the semifinals, and we played against a team who was always at the end. They're always playing in the
Right.
championship. I ended up pitching really well in front of a home crowd. First time that we had the states hosted, in our area. And so, I mean, it was a packed stadium. And this is kind of interesting how it sets me up for my career now at UH is
Mhm.
that like packed stadium, everybody's screaming and getting nuts. And what was awesome, I had ended up with 13 strikeouts. I think I had set a state record in a single game, state championship game, strikeout single game. And my coach pulled me in the sixth inning with two outs to give me my own applause from the crowd. And like as bad as I wanted to just finish the game, like I was
Right.
locked in and in that role. Um, I was really appreciative for him for giving that little
Were
gesture.
you were you appreciative in the moment when you really didn't want to come out though? You might have been
Uh,
appreciative
I
later, but in
mean,
the moment you were mad.
I was hanging on to that ball, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like just one guy. Like, come on, but pried the ball to my hands. But I step off the mound, you look into the crowd, and you see the entire community, cheering you on. And so that was a very special feeling, and definitely carried very far here to UH and the rest of my career.
So when it comes to UH, was that the plan? Like, were there any considerations to go to any other colleges, or being where you're from, no, that's the school that you wanted to pitch for and represent?
Well, here's how's this story. I didn't care what level, where it was, if I would have played or not, or like all those things. I didn't really care where I would have ended up. The only thing that was of my concern was that I earn a full ride scholarship so that my mom does not need to pay for college and keep my, playing dreams alive. Fortunately, I got offered by a D1 college, and even more fortunate that I took for granted for a couple years that I was close to home. It wasn't until my first 2 years at UH that I fully embraced the idea that I have this opportunity to play for the state and to be close to home with family and friends, and then make an impact on the community that I have passion for. So, um, the older I got, for sure, more appreciative to be at UH compared to other places.
Yeah, I need to have you have a talk with my daughter. See, when it came to schools, I tried to pitch that same thing. She just chose LSU, which I'm an LSU fan. Most people think that I actually pushed that, but yeah, LSU was only offering half. She was getting offered full from all these other schools, as well as soccer scholarships. And so she's gonna pick the school where she's only getting half academic, and she's gonna have to walk on soccer. And it's like, there's a lot better options. And she's like, you don't go to LSU, and I'm like, I don't want you or me to be in debt. But hey, at least it's my school. But yeah, some kids don't think like you do, and so I'm sure your mom's super appreciative that you went the route and thinking about her, because not all teenagers, are worried about what their parents think. They're like, hey, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. So I commend you for that.
And like one other thing for that too is like for me, I think I enjoy being in the position that's not necessarily top tier, just so that I can face the challenge rather than
Yeah.
be the challenge. So, like being in the Big West, obviously not like a Power Five conference, but you get to face good competition. And then being in the Big West, we're not necessarily the top dog in the conference, but we were just called the dark horse of the Big West. And so like, there's a little respect to the name, and there's teams around our conference that are just, a little more cautious about how they approach our games.
Yeah, we're going to get into that as we get into last season and this upcoming season. But starting with the first season, obviously, man, COVID season, we don't even got to get in that. We know how it messed everything up. You did have a game as a freshman with 7 Ks, and you made your first start in a final game of the season against Oregon. And that's really what I want to talk about. Like, you talk about putting your name on the map, playing a school out of the Pac-12 with Oregon's caliber as a freshman. Just what was it like being able to pitch against a team like that and at least get that under your belt as a freshman, even with everything that took place with COVID?
Um, I'm gonna make it even better. I got to pitch against Vanderbilt. We traveled to Vanderbilt that year when they were ranked number one. So I also got to pitch in there. So I think we had first that Washington State game. It was that first time I had a very successful outing. Believe it was my second outing of that year. And again, like I had mentioned in high school, like I was in that freshman mindset. It was all gas, no breaks, and it was just give it your all every single time. And so um, that was like my welcome to college
Yeah,
baseball for me.
I'm gonna have to get on your SI department. I just double checked to make sure I didn't gloss over that. They didn't put that, man. That's valuable. They need to put that in there. You went against Vandy. Hmm.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the setup too that kind of got a little more recognition. But yeah, getting the opportunity to start on the very last game of the COVID year, that really was my negative welcome to college baseball experience. Like I was coming out of the pen, the first couple series, and this time I trying to adjust to be a starter. Obviously, like everyone coming out of high school, starter, right? So
Right.
to readjust, get back into that mode, I was pretty complacent at that point. That was very, very young Tai Atkins. But I'd given up my first ever home run that game, and that was to, I believe, Kenny and Yovan,
Hmm.
he, All American at Oregon. So that was actually, a nice humbling experience before getting shut down.
Hey, baseball's a humbling game. Sometimes you need that, especially as a young kid, so hey what you're really getting into. But nonetheless, I mean, to in a COVID shortened season to get Vandy then to add, and I was talking about Oregon. Yeah, that's a great way to set you up going forward, like because there isn't any teams going forward that you're going to really see that are probably going to be that much harder. So you've already went against the best competition. So going into that next season, which actually really becomes your freshman season because of COVID, you made 9 appearances, 8 of which were in conference play. How did you feel about your production level going from year one to year two? A lot of times, um, guys have a step up. Did you feel like you were getting better?
That actually was uh what I'd call like the first hiccup of the career. That year proved to be very tough, physically for a little while, and then mentally for sure. I actually didn't perform very well that year. Ran into some struggles here and there, trying to figure out some things, trying to reinvent the wheel a little bit.
Hmm.
I think that comes product to wanting to be better, but doing too much to be better. Some things I didn't need to change started to take away from my game a little bit. So, if anything, that was a significant learning year for the year to follow.
Well, it feels like, looking at your team's, lack of success that year, it feels like you weren't the only one. I feel like that was just a rough year altogether for the team. And, maybe like you said, wasn't just you, it was everybody needed to reevaluate, go back to the drawing board. But you did have one thing good to say about that, and it's something we value in our athletes. And maybe this was something that your mom instilled in you. You still made the All Big West academic team. Just talk about why academics were important to you.
I mean, growing up, my mom's super strict mom.
Mm.
You know, Uh, so I mean, academics, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like a genius or anything or like a nerd like that, but I do take the time to put in the work and just carry it on into college, without having her by my side, but she was in the ear. So um, obviously school is important, for what comes afterwards, but that it just feels like something that is natural.
Yeah, no, and it's important because you don't ever know when, your last game is, and you got to set yourself up for your future. And having, academic degree from Hawaii is obviously a good way to start that. So, taking care of your academics, man, shout out to you because, not all athletes do. We have some athletes, not going to drop any names, but over the course of 4 years, we've had to reschedule their episode because they had study hall because they failed a test. So, is what it is. That's the worst when they say, hey, we got to do it earlier, we got to do it later because I got study hall, and it's like it's a damn shame. But the next year you get into man, you obviously find your stride. 28 appearances, 26 out of the pen, third most total strikeouts, second lowest ERA. So clearly you found your groove, and talking about the team, that's when your team started to take a step in the right direction. So talk about what was working for you, and then just talk about the team, starting to progressively getting better that season.
So that year, we had got a new head coach. Our previous head coach had ran out of his term and didn't get his re-signing done. So uh, now enter the Rich Hill era, right, from USD, and brought in a totally new culture for all the guys that were returning from the previous year. Super stoked. All the transfers that were local that are coming back, super stoked to be home and working now towards something special. And I think the resources that he had brought along with him and the kind of culture that he's continuing to build is what kind of changed that for a lot of us. I would like to say that uh, with our last coach, it was a little like on the mediocre side when it came to competitiveness and work ethic. So with this new change of culture, came a new fire lit under us. The potential was now leaked out. What had happened there too was just okay. Now it's a new everything. Everybody has a fresh slate. Whatever happened to me the year before doesn't
Mhm.
matter. Only now matters. So I took that opportunity, took advantage of that, and it ended up working really well. Had a really good pitching coach. I'm pretty sure that year and the year to follow, we had led the Big West in ERA. So like huge change of culture is what kind of shifted
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I talked to Nigel about it. Obviously, y'all had some big series wins, Cal State, Fullerton, and some other ones. And man, he neglected to mention, the Rich Hill era. So yeah, significant change. Clearly, he helped change the culture. And then, that mentality you were just talking about, that's the mentality any pitcher needs to have, especially out of the bullpen. You got to forget what happened this season before the outing before, new slate, like you said. And so, man, I love it. But let's get into last year because every year's continued growth, and it makes me excited for this upcoming season. Last year, I want to go directly to the UC Santa Barbara series because that I would, if I could pick any game that I looked and saw, that's the game I'd want to be at. You finish
Right.
the season pitching 1 2/3 scoreless, and then y'all walk it off against a team that's top 25. Just talk about for you first of all, being able to shut it down, and then your teammates walk it off and get that big win, and obviously you sweep the series on top of that.
That will, I think, be really the hardest baseball moment to ever be topped in my book. I mean, coming into the series, we've already kind of been in that like, okay, well, the way the math was working out, we were going to be out of the running for getting a bid to the regionals. So we're like, you know what, we're just going to ball out here. It's for the seniors. A couple of the seniors have been with us all of our years there, so it's just like we're going to play hard for everybody. We're gonna still put on a really good game for the fans, because I mean the fans show out. It is 4,000 packed. It's a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. So
And that
getting
was, and you said for the seniors, I neglected to mention it was the senior day. So
so I mean a lot of special things was going on, and I mean you can talk superstitions and all this and that, and everything was present at that moment. And that game, I mean, getting the opportunity to come out of the pen in a situation like that, I mean, it was just so electric. I think this is what like set me up to be the most competitive player I can possibly be, is being put in these pressure situations, knowing that that's a privilege to be there. Getting out of it, screaming at the fans, knowing that they're stoked for you and I'm stoked for them. And oh God, I remember this. This is the moment too. We had got out of the inning, and I gave like a huge roar, and the crowd went nuts, and it felt like awesome, and everybody was behind us in that moment. We get back into the dugout and we're telling our leadoff guy like, "Hey, we're gonna make this happen. You have a good leadoff at bat. You just get on base any means how." And he ends up trying to walk, and we're like, "Hey, first our leadoff walks, the percentages say that there's no way he's not gonna score. There's no way he's not gonna score." And stone me out. My goodness.
dude,
Had it
I love walk offs, especially to end the season, like you said, senior day. Like you said, it's you said you weren't so bad, but everything just it comes together for like a magical moment.
Oh my God. It felt like a movie for sure. Like the way the ball hit off the bat, where I was standing looked very cinematic.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was right,
Was
like,
there a massive dog pile?
oh, gigantic. Shirts were ripped, jerseys were ripped off, Powerade all over the place. Um, but yeah, that was awesome. I think there was no better way to send everyone off into what they would continue to do on in their lives, and for us going into summer ball, like, that really did set up a lot of success unknowingly, at least for me in the summer. Somebody else's success is gonna help you as well.
Yeah, and like I said, every year since you've been there, y'all had the hiccup, but then each year you progressed as a player, but obviously as a team. And like I said, you were beating the Cal State Fullertons, and now you're beating UCSB. Y'all even had the wins against Minnesota and Maryland up there in the Cambria Classic. So y'all are getting better with each year, which makes this year exciting because out the gate, the schedule is set. Y'all have the opportunity. You're talking about dark horse. You have the chance to spoil it for two big time programs. You have Ole Miss and NC State coming back to back in your house. Just talk about how excited you are for your team to be able to make a statement early, having those big time programs come in.
I mean, it's kind of everything. For us, non-conference has always been a very important portion of the season, and privileged enough to have top tier teams come down to play us at our yeah at our house. I'm sure it's going to be just as great for them, considering that the weather over there is probably freezing. And it's
Oh
like
yeah, there's a lot of fans that I know from Ole Miss that are
take
making
their
that.
head
That's why
down.
I was going. Hey, it was going to be. I was starting my season there for the exact reason you just said. Most of the places I pick, and the one that I am going to pick now that my wife's having to have surgery, I'm gonna have to hope that it's somewhat warm and I'm not gonna freeze to death. There's a reason people want to go to the Hawaii game for sure. So if your team gets scheduled with Hawaii, I think it's a blessing. So it works out for y'all, works out for them. Everybody's a winner.
Yeah, but from a competitive standpoint, you know, we've always, I think, been that scrappy team. I feel like we've always been that team no one wants to play.
Hmm.
For the reason that we're gonna put up the fight. You know, I mean, we're not called the Warriors for no reason. You know,
Right.
considering considering the amount of locals that we have on the team this year, you know, it's the pride is just that much more. You
Mhm.
know, and I think that's something, you know, an intangible that needs to be taken into account because that really does make the difference. I think when it comes down to playing good baseball. You know, I believe our pitching staff can definitely be able to compete very well at against any team. And I say that confidently because I really do trust and believe in everyone in our staff.
Yeah, no, and I believe you because you owned when you had your mistakes, and then you just look at the trajectory you're on. I mean, everything's been going in the up. So when you talk about the pitching staff and for yourself, what's it looking like for you? Are you going to be a starter? Or are you coming back out the pen?
I'm probably solidified in the pen. Um, I am what Rich Hill had called our staff in the previous year, the tropical storm. Okay. Um, you know, you kind of got to adjust as things go along, you know, and I feel like I've always been a pretty adaptable person inside and outside of baseball. So um I take on whatever role that is given to me and I do it to the best of my ability, obviously. But I do personally enjoy closing games. I feel like there's no better feeling than being able to get the last out and be able to high five the boys on the mound.
Oh, no doubt. If baseball was, I covered baseball, but it was the one sport that I wasn't really ever good at. And, closing games just seems like the most electric thing that your closers are always so fiery and passionate, full of energy. Like, I mean, yeah, that would be the role that I would want. And dude, you said the tropical storm. What a nickname, dude. That's excellent. I love it. I'm actually going to change it. I'm going to redo the intro. I've already recorded the intro. It's got to go now. Like I need the
Yeah.
tropical storm as the intro. Like anything else is unacceptable. So, talking about the other pitchers, give me some guys, obviously, like I said, I'm gonna tune in. We're gonna have a lot of people that listen to the show and Ole Miss fans, who are they gonna see on the mound, as far as starters in that weekend, at least projected as of right now.
Well, I can probably guess that they're going to be two lefties for sure. Um, we got one guy just got awarded freshman All American Harrison Bodendorf from California, San Diego area. Very funky guy, not very different from how I throw too, but very awesome kid, very competitive on the mound. So you know that's always a really reliable arm to have out there. You got Randy Abshire. He transferred from Arizona a couple years ago. He's also from San Diego. Um, Lefty, hard throwing lefty. You know, he's got great stuff, and you know he's a dog on the mound.
So they better
Um,
be ready for them lefties, between you and himself. Like, all right,
yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is like one of the this might be the second staff on which I'm a part of that has like a significant amount of lefties, which
yeah.
like I've never growing up had that be the case. So
Yeah, LSU last year only had two. This year we have double digit. I think we have it's either 11 or 12. It's crazy.
wow, I see. Yeah, like it's the influx of lefties. You know, parents are seeing where the money is going, and
Hey, I did it when my son first started playing. I tried to hand that ball to his left hand and see if he'd throw it with it. Hey, I think every parent tries that for sure. So yeah, as far as hitters, talk to me. Guys, I think about, when you go to the inter squads, when you go to the exhibitions, guys that you face, who are a couple guys that have just impressed you this fall that you think are going to stand out?
here's Elijah Ikes, local boy. He's from Wahiwa, on Oahu. He got drafted. I forget by who, but he had got drafted, turned it down to come to UH. He's an infielder, shortstop, infielder. I feel like he's going to be a pretty significant piece within the lineup. Gets on base, good base runner. You got another local boy, Jake Sukata. He's a transfer from Portland, and he's also an infielder, just really tough at bat.
Mm.
Uh, really tough, hard to get out, never going to strike out as often. Um, and then you got the Donahues. You got two cousins. You got Jordan, and then you got Kyson, also infielders. Or Kyson is more a utility player. Um, you got Jordan Donahue, small, quick lefty, and then you got Kyson Donahue, tall, big bat, lefty. So flooded with lefty batters for sure.
So
Um,
lefty arms, lefty batters. I hope they're ready.
yeah, I mean, it's going to play to our advantage for sure. Our field plays lefty heavy.
Nice. What's the I imagine, being by the coast, is there a lot of wind coming in, going out, typically in most ballparks it usually goes one way or the other. Like for you, for your stadium, is it usually coming in or going out?
So we're situated in an angle where the valley that is facing us is blowing the ball out to right field. So any balls that go in the air to left field, if you think you got pop, if you can hit it out of our field and in the left field side, you've got real pop. Aside from the humidity, kind of killing balls and the fact that our foul ball territory might be the biggest in the country. Um, like you're gonna either see outs you've never seen before, or you're gonna hit balls so far, that you might actually be the strongest player on the team.
Yeah, man, I'm so disappointed. My wife got to heal up soon. I ain't trying to be insensitive. I can't believe she gonna pull this needing surgery when we're going to Hawaii. Golly. But, I'm excited. Like I said, the schedule lines up, for those that are listening, check out these boys from Hawaii. They've gotten better every single year coming out the gate. Top 25 programs in Ole Miss and NC State. At least I have Ole Miss in the top 25. They're right outside it in most people's, and then everybody does have NC State in. But I look forward to it, and I think, man, sky's the limit for you guys building off the previous seasons. But with that, we're gonna play a game called This or That. You down?
Down.
All right, This or That is brought to you by Chinook Seedery. Eight Flavors Mild to Wild, official sponsor of Team USA Baseball and the In Off the Bench podcast. I'm sending Nigel some. He better share some with you. If he don't, I'm gonna come find him. But here we go. Tacos, chicken or beef?
Ooh, chicken.
Feel like there's no bad answer for a taco. That's the thing. Like, just bring it. All right. Liquid soap or bar soap?
Ooh, liquid soap.
All right. What do you think goes harder on the bump for you? The arm sleeve or the hair?
The hair.
Most guys that got hair flow usually end up being some pretty badass pitchers. I'm not gonna lie.
I know.
All right. What would you rather go to? A costume party or a pool party?
Pool party. Come on now.
Hey man, costume party. Some people say that and they always got these ideas. Them boys from Wake Forest, they had a costume party. They got wild
They don't got
folks dressing up as anything and everything.
they don't got a beach bod like we do.
I heard that. All right. Well, would you rather be lost in the jungle or trapped in a haunted house?
Oh nope, lost in the jungle.
Man, you know better than that. You know this, man. Tiger in the jungle, that's scary too.
They call me Tarzan sometimes.
There you go. Hey, they can climb trees. There ain't nothing to say. And then there's snakes in trees. I'm just telling you, everybody always wants to be quick to say they'll take the jungle. Man, I've seen too many movies. I'm taking the haunted house. I'm dealing with them ghosts.
Nope, no thanks.
All right. Private yacht or private jet?
Hmm. Let's go jet. Let's go jet.
Yeah, I was thinking you might say yacht being, island guy, but I mean, once again, no wrong answer. All right, here's the money question. This is the one that matters. We finish this with everyone. Be the number one overall pick in the MLB draft or win a national championship.
I'm taking winning a national championship. That's bragging rights forever.
Number one overall pick last year came with $9+ million of bonus money. Are you sure?
I tell you what, there's not enough money you can pay me to miss out on a championship.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, we asked that same question to Paul Skeens, who was the number one overall draft on this show, and he said that he would take the championship and all the memories also. He'd give the pick and the money back. So I agree with you. As a guy who just did it and he said that he would give it back, I have to believe it, right? And it's like any guy that we've asked that who's actually won a championship says it's not about the hardware. It's about all the memories along the way for the ride. You and your boys, like you said, the bragging rights, being in Omaha, getting it done. You can't replace those, right? You take them with you for life.
Like I'll tell you, I'll share this story real quick. This summer I played in Alaska, and if obviously summer ball is always like a great time. You're just meshing with a bunch of new guys for the first time playing some ball. We ended up winning the championship, the whole thing. And in my opinion, no matter what level you're at, the championship game is always going to be the best feeling ever. It doesn't matter if it's like a wiffle ball tournament or an inaugural thing, but like I think there's no better feeling. Like those memories that I created with that like group of boys is forever. I still stay in contact with them like very often, in fact, and a lot of them are in my conference. So the fact that we're going to get to see each other throughout the season is just like a very exciting feeling, and like, something you can never uh get back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's like I said, priceless is the only way to put it on. But I got to ask, you had said played summer ball before, but you didn't say Alaska. How do you guys end up in Alaska?
I mean, you know how like summer ball goes.
Yeah, but I ain't
Coach,
never heard of I'd expected you to end up in California, not Alaska.
the Alaskan Baseball League is a pretty prominent one, I think, in my opinion. They've got a lot of alumni who's very famous and played Hall of Famers, and
Why is
Aaron.
it the best leagues are like, all right, because the Cape is in Maine, and then you
Yeah,
got that in Alaska, like they're in like the oddest places.
they're in the boonies everywhere. I
Yeah, I
don't know.
guess that's all they got there, right? Come watch summer league baseball here.
Yeah, I don't know, but I tell you what, great experience though. For everyone else who's listening, and they want to try and play someplace interesting. Like Alaska's got good competition. You play against a lot of D1 players, and you get to spend a lot of time in nature.
And I bet the weather there during the summer is like perfect, right? It's not hot as hell like it is in most places.
No, it was freezing. It was 40 degrees and
Oh,
rainy.
really? It wasn't like at least like 60, 70?
Nope, it took till like August for it to get 60 and sunny.
All
But
right, well, you just solidified I ain't got no business in Alaska. Especially, there's what's there's 30 days where there's no sun or something too.
we played a game at like 10 o'clock because it was still sunny. So
Damn, that's
yeah.
crazy. That's when you get them like you did in Little League, get them all day tournaments in.
Oh my gosh.
All right, well, you're off the hot seat. Is there anything you want to plug or promote? It's an opportunity, man. Whether you're talking about family members, whether you're talking about team, especially, being that you're one of our only, guys from Hawaii, if there's anything you want to plug or promote, people should check out. You got anything?
I'd give a shout out to everyone that's fans of Hawaii baseball. I think it's a very special group of people to be a part of. It's always a privilege, and it's always something that we tell new players that come here, or recruits for that matter too, that you're going to play in front of a crowd that's unlike any other crowd around in the country. And I'm sure there's like, super fans and hardcore baseball fans around the country, but we are the professional baseball team in Hawaii. We're the only show in town for baseball in Hawaii. So we kind of get that big league experience in where we're from, and to do it in front of a home crowd with people that with family that it's very intimate, and you really do get this humbling experience to be connected to the community. So with a growing fan base and an existing fan base already, I think shout out to them for being the best people that we can ask for, and make our experience as ball players the best, and create these memories that we will never forget. I can tell you I will. And that encourages me to continue to do community service and be involved with the community and be a role model for a lot of kids. I think that's something that goes a little taken for granted, is being the role model for those kids. Because I did remember those times when watching Colton Wong play baseball and finally get to meet him and train with him, and now we've become to a part where we're close, closer in relationships. So, to see.
Man, that's my boy from the Cardinals. I was so sad when he was gone. Dang, man. That dude, he plays defense. So, man, like I don't even. There's no words for how good that dude is defensively.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the Big Island, you definitely have trained with Colton. Like the group there, like I said, is very tight. So if you think we don't know each other, we probably do.
Yeah, no, man, I love it. Just with everything that y'all got going on, and between you and Nigel, what you're saying. And I was looking at your schedule as a whole again. Obviously, I knew about Ole Miss and NC State, but yeah, Cal State, Fullerton comes there again. Cal Poly, a lot of teams. So those are listed out there, or even those who maybe they're not a fan of either team, just looking for a reason to go to Hawaii. Pick a time. Like you said, come when it's pro atmosphere, packed out crowd, man. Sounds electric. As a matter of fact, I started talking about, me rescheduling. I'm telling you, at the end of the season, that Cal State Fullerton series looks really appealing.
Tell
Ooh,
you what,
man.
we've got 16 seniors, and so that's going to be our senior weekend. And so, I mean, if you're looking forward to something similar to Santa Barbara last year, that's probably your best shot.
There we go. Tell my wife, you better heal up, rest up. We going, damn it. We going. But man, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a blast. If there's anything we can do for you going forward, man, just reach out and let us know.
For sure.
All right, that's Tai Atkins, everybody. If you like hearing his story or you just like hearing Average Joe's talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook. Retweet us on Twitter. Listen and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and Anchor. As always, ratings, comment, hugs, love, feedback is always welcome. We will see everyone back tonight, episode 14, with Emma Malabayo from UCLA Gymnastics. But in the meantime, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.